Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about brushes. We're going to talk about size, we're going to talk about style, and we're going to talk about pro tips in terms of my favorite styles of brushes to use. Let's get started. In terms of size, we've got long brushes, we've got extra wide brushes, and we've got short brushes. Let's move through each of the sizes and what they're good for. Let's talk about long brushes first. Long brushes are excellent for making large work. Large being 36 inches and bigger, because it forces you to keep some distance between you and the painting. And one of the best lessons you can learn in art is the importance of stepping back from your work. No matter what size it is, whether it's small or large, it's always good to take a mental break and look at it with fresh eyes. When you paint large pieces of art, it's excellent to be able to get the space between your arm, the hand, and the paint. You also don't want to end up covered in paint, unless you like that sort of thing. The other excellent thing about long brushes is if you like to make gestural paintings, meaning you're very free with your mark making, lots of organic lines and brush strokes, this might be for you. It really allows you to create some space between yourself and the work, but also you can be extra free with your line making. Now let's talk about these big brushes. The big wide bristles are excellent for covering lots of surface area as well as making huge gestural marks. When we talk about surface area, in this painting in particular, we're going to have to eventually cover all of this white space with pure white paint. The fastest way for me to do that and the most fun to do that is with a really big, beautiful brush. So we'll be able to cover a lot of surface area in a short amount of time. Up next, we've got short brushes. These are wonderful for doing a few things. One, you can get up close and personal with your work. If you've got a really small space that you need to focus on, grab your short brushes. Also, if you like a little bit more control, I find personally that I get more control over that bead of paint I like to carry so much on my work with these shorter brushes. Let's talk style. So in terms of all the different brush head styles you can find out in the world, my absolute favorite is this angled head style. I find that I can actually get into the tight corners of the geometric shapes I paint most often by having a bit of a point on one end and also at the same time having a bit of a wide pressure stroke as I make my marks on any painting. Up next, we have round as our bristle shape. The round brushes I find best for filling in circular forms, as well as being able to trace along the outside of a circle. So for example, on the painting we've been working on, I'm going to have to not only fill in the center of this circle with white, but I'm also going to have to trace around this to get that nice final line. As well as even with this large outer rim to the whole circular body of the piece, this round brush is a huge help for those kinds of things. Last up, we've got our fine line brush. Very similar in terms of bristle shape, however, less bristles, longer bristles than our standard round brush. The reason for that is it allows us to create beautiful, thin lines on whatever we might be painting, and it's similar to when you've seen pinstripe painters on car restoration shows. You can really get more control than you might think with longer bristles that are quite thin. One key pro tip about the angled head brushes is not to leave them in your water jar for too long. The beautiful tip that you find on the point of these brushes can actually curl and bend, and then you end up losing the accuracy you once had from that perfect point. So make sure you pull it right out of your water jar when you're done, get it ready to go back into storage. Experiment with different kinds of brushes and brush styles and see what works for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.